Hi everyone, it's Joy here today, and I'm excited to share with you the Handcrafted Calendar Kit. Now, what comes in the kit is this wooden top this is what holds your calendar together, the group text stamp, the clear stamps, the stencils to decorate the top part of your calendar, and the calendar pieces. Also for this project, I am using From the North Pole and Tag Stacklets 2, If Turkeys Could Talk, the Circle Masking Stencil, the Pennant Parade and Pennant Parade Halloween, Spooktacular Stamp and Die, Pizza My Heart Stamp and Die, Pick of the Patch Cling and Clear Combo with the coordinating die. The inks that I'm using are Oreo and Versamark ink, along with Lime Zest, Cilantro, Peapod, Cherry Pop, Candy Corn, Pumpkin, Confetti Cake, Jelly Donut, and Pineapple. I'm using silver and gold embossing powder, a powder tool, foam sticky circles and strips, an acrylic block and white rhinestones, red pepper and sugar cube cardstock, a pastel blender brush for my white sugar cube ink and the regular blender brushes, and a bunch of Copic markers for Copic coloring. Now I'm going to start with a piece of sugar cube cardstock cut to 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and I have the leaf stencil from the kit taped down onto my cardstock. I'm coming in with pineapple, candy corn, and cherry pop ink, and I'm just blending over, not on a particular leaf, just blending over everything. That way some of the leaves have multiple colors on it, and I think that looks so beautiful. And I have this at the top part of my cardstock, so the bottom part of this cardstock panel will be blank. So everything is blended, and when I pull it back, we've got this beautiful blended background. Now I'm taking my Oreo ink and stamping the cute coffee cup from the Pizza My Heart stamp set, and I'm also stamping the background from the Pick of the Patch, all the pumpkins, and I want to make sure I'm lining it up to where I get multiple pumpkins. I'm inking that up with candy corn ink, and then coming in with the pumpkin ink at the top and the bottom of the pumpkins just to give it a little bit of variation. Stamping that on my sugar cube cardstock using my Misty so I can stamp the images multiple times if needed. I'm coloring the little coffee band in orange colors, YR02, 04, and 18. I'm laying down the 02, coming in with the darker color on the outside, blending in with the medium color, and then blending it all again with the lighter. Coming back in and adding the little bit darker shadow areas just to give it a little more depth and dimension. For the cup itself, I am using E30, 31, and 55. I really wanted it to look like a cardboard cup, kind of a craft cardstock color. So that's the color scheme I'm going for here. And then for the lid, I'm going to use T1 and T3 and my blender pen just to blend it out and soften the gray areas. But this will give it some dimension and some depth as well, not leaving it just uncolored. That doesn't look finished. And then I want to add a pop of turquoise with BG 11, 13, and 18 for that heart, because I think with all the orange that's going to be on this background, it's going to turn out fantastic. I'm going to use the coordinating dies for this, and you can see on the pumpkins there I haven't stamped the leaf and stem yet. I'm going to do that after I've die cut all of these images. Now I'm coming in with Peapod ink and my acrylic block and just stamping the little leaves on all 4 of these pumpkins. Now I'm just using a little bit of the candy corn ink, inking up on some scratch paper. I'm going to trim that down because I need a thin strip of paper. You could use the coordinating cardstock, but this is the way I did it. And I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue behind that, line that up at the bottom, and that finishes off that bottom edge. And on the bottom open part is where we're going to put the month of September. Now I'm using foam sticky circles behind my pumpkins and my coffee cup. I have glued down the larger pumpkins directly on the background. I'm popping the cup up for dimension and along. The same thing with those 2 smaller pumpkins and a little bit at an angle. Okay, on to the next card. This is for the month of October, and I've just stamped the Pennant Parade Cling and Clear onto my piece of sugar cube cardstock that measures 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. I'm taking a pin just to finish off because it wasn't quite long enough, so I'm just finishing off the little strings on the side. I am using the Pennant Parade Halloween, and I'm stamping all of these little pennants, not in any particular order. The colors that I'm using are Candy Corn, Jelly Donut, and Lime Zest, and I'm just going to stamp all of these little images And some of the colors will be, I'll have a couple oranges next to each other and things like that, but because the images are different, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to continue stamping all of these fun pennant images all over this whole background, and this so looks like Halloween. It is just fabulous. Now I've stamped this little ghost from the Spooktacular Stamp and Die, and I'm coming in with my Copic markers and coloring the ghost with T1 and 3. The hat is a purple using BV11, 13, and 17. The pumpkin is going to be YR2, 02, 04, and 18. And the little sucker is going to be green using G43, 14, and 07. And I'm just going to add a little bit of R20 for his cheeks and blend that out softly with my blender pen, and then using the coordinating die to cut out this little ghost. I'm using some foam sticky circles and adhering him to that back panel. Onto our third background. I am using the If Turkeys Could Talk. Obviously this is for November. I've stamped him with Oreo ink onto sugar cube cardstock, and there's a bunch of different faces, and I'm just lining up the face that I want to use, and I'm going to take some purple tape and mask off the rest of the faces that obviously I don't want to use. I'm going to ink that up with Oreo ink and stamp that image. I'm also going to stamp the sentiment that says "Gobble till you wobble." Now I'm going to color him with some Copic markers. I am using E55, 59, 49, 57, and 31. Those are all the browns that I will be using for this whole image. The grays that I'm going to be using, his tail feathers will be gray and brown. I'm going to use T1 and 3 for that. And then the red for his beak and his little gobbler thing is R39 and 46. Again, laying down the light color, coming in with the dark for shadowing, and then blending out a little bit further with the medium color, and then coming back with that light color and getting a nice blend everywhere. For his feathers, I'm coming in with the T3, adding a little bit of dark there, T1 at the top, and I'm flicking in a lighter brown, and then coming in flicking in a darker brown. And using the flicking motion makes the feathers look like they are feathers and that they have texture. Here is the red R39 and 46 for his beak, coming in with a little bit of gray and brown for his feet, and then brown for this sign. And I'm going to do the same flicking motion from the outside in to make it look like it has some wood grain. And I'm going to use the coordinating die for that. Now on this background, I'm using the circle stencil. I'm using the largest circle and inking that up with lime zest ink, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit of cilantro just around the outside edges to give it a little bit of a darker edge. This is on sugar cube cardstock, cut to 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. Now I'm going to line that up in my MISTI, and I'm going to add another sentiment from the If Turkeys Could Talk, and I just thought it was a great sentiment. It says, "You want to put the stuffing where? Foam sticky circles behind the image and pop him right in the center." I've die cut 2 tags from the Tag Stacklets 2 in red pepper cardstock, and I'm taking the snowflake stencil from the kit and using sugar cube ink with my pastel blending brush that I've just dedicated to the sugar cube ink, and stenciling that over both of these tags, 2 different sizes, a larger and a smaller tag. I am going to use the tag die a little bit differently to make this look like a ticket instead of a tag, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. While those are drying, I am going to come in with the group text sentiments, which is the months of the year. I'm prepping my sugar cube cardstock with my powder tool using Versamark ink and inking that up. I'm going to ink that up twice to get a good impression. And I'm going to use gold embossing powder for this. So all of the months of the year will be gold embossed. I'm going to heat that until it's melted and nice and shiny. I will use the coordinating die and line that up with the little markers on the side and run that through my die cut machine. Now I'm back to the tags, and I'm prepping those with my powder tool, and I've got 2 sentiments from the North Pole stamp set. It's really like tag sayings, not sentiments. And I'm going to ink emboss one of those up, with gold embossing powder, and the other one with the silver embossing powder. And I'm going to heat those until they are completely melted and shiny. Now I'm taking those same tag dies and just flipping them around using some Scotch removable tape and adhering that down, running that through my die cut machine. And now these look like tickets instead of tags. I'm taking a piece of sugar cube cardstock, which is cut to 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. I'm using the snowflake stencil from the kit with confetti cake ink and my blender brush and just blending that onto the background. And I have that lined up in the center of that cardstock panel, so just the snowflakes will be in the center. I'm going to adhere down these tags, just a little bit of an angle, tuck that little one in behind the back one and trim off any of the excess. I'm going to use a foam sticky strip and add that behind my December tag. Now I'm coming in with the white rhinestones and gluing those all the way around, and I'm going to adhere all of the other months to the rest of the cards. Now here are the calendar pieces, and on the back it says what month it's for, so I'm making sure my front coordinates with my back, and I will adhere all of these together, so we will have 4 months, September, October, November, December, complete. Now the wood pieces that hold the calendar together, you have 2 and they have magnets on both sides, and then you have this piece of leather that goes through the holes, and you need to tie a double knot because that makes it big enough that it's not going to pull back through the hole when it's hanging. So I tied on one side a double knot, then I stuck it back through the top, and I'm going to now make another double knot on the other side, and it's going to hold perfectly and it won't slip through. Now you have these little clear stamps that come in the kit. You have a pumpkin, you have a fall leaf, there is a Christmas tree, there is raindrops, there's all kinds of images, and I'm just going to stamp all of those onto my coordinating months. I'm going to lay my calendar in and put the 2 pieces together, and they magnet together, and now you've got this great calendar. Now here are all pieces. You've got the September, you have got October, November is already laying there, and then we have December. I want to thank you guys so very much for watching. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.